right? Now we'll recreate the same plot, but this time we'll write our code using the pipe operators, right? Using pipe, this is how we are going to write our code. Now before we do that, let us take a quick look at the steps that we follow when we are doing this, right? So we have this data here, we have referrer, device and purchase. What we want to do is we want to filter out all the visits that resulted in purchase, okay? And then we'll take that, we will extract the referrer column, right? From that table we'll extract the referrer column, then you pass it on to the table function. When you pass it to the table function will create the counts for each of those referrer types, right? And then you'll pass on the referrer name and the count to the bar plot function to get your bar plot, right? So this first step where we filter for the purchases or visits that converted or resulted in the conversion. The second step, we extract the referrer column. The third step, we pass the referrer column extracted from the data set to the table function. The fourth step, we take the counts from the table function and pass it on to the bar plot function. So let us see how this can be written using the pipe, right? So we take the ecom data set and we pass it on to the subset function to filter out all those visits which resulted in a conversion. And then we take the filtered data set and pass it on to the extract function to extract the referrer column, which is then passed on to the table function to get the counts for each of the referrer, and that output is passed to the bar plot function, right? So let us see how we can do this here. So I take the ecom data set, right? I pass it to the subset function to filter out all the visits that resulted in a conversion, which is then passed on to the extract function to extract the referrer column, right? The output is then passed to the table function, which will calculate the counts for each of the referrer types, and those counts are passed on to the bar plot function. So let me remove this plot so you can see how this step also creates the same plot, right? And this, you can see, it goes nicely with the narrative, right? It's very intuitive. Now just for the sake of a better understanding, let us look at the output from each of these steps, right? So here ecom data set is passed to the subset function to filter out all the purchases, right? You can see them here, right? The purchase column only has 2 values. Now this data set is then passed on to the extract function to extract the referrers, right? So this is again it has the referrers from the previous step where we filtered out for all those visits that resulted in a conversion. Now the output from this, we'll pass it on to the table function, right? So now you can see the count for each of the referrer types. Now this data is passed on to the bar plot function to create the bar plot for the frequency of these different referrer types, right? So you can see how you can sort of explain each step when you're using these pipe operators. Here you have to figure out how the whole thing is working out. Okay, here we are subsetting, then we are using the referrer column, then it is being passed to the table function, and that output is passed to the bar plot function. Here it is easier because you start from here and end up with bar plot, right? Now we look at some more examples as well.